Seamus, you're from Canada.
That's right.
How are things in Canada at the moment?
Well, the country is going down the drain, it's going down rapidly as a consequence of misleadership by Trudeau and his corrupt alliances with foreign corporations.
But Trudeau's facing an election at the moment, isn't he? How's he going to do in that election?
Well, he's not going to do any good in the West, but the tragedy of Canada is that it's the East that elects the government, and
Toronto.
It doesn't make no difference how we vote in the West.
But in the polls, he's sort of slightly behind the Conservatives. But I mean, the previous election, he got nearly 40%, so his position's going to be weakened. Why do you think the Canadians have lost faith in Trudeau?
Well, there's one scandal after another. He's been exposed. His Justice Minister, Jody Raybould, has been forced out of her job because she wouldn't toe the line to his agenda to protect one of his corrupt alliances, which was SNC-Lavalin.
Yeah. Now, it makes you think about Trudeau. He portrays himself as a man of the left, a man of the people, but yeah, he seems to have his hands in the pockets of all the corporations.
Yes.
What's that about?
Well, I'm stuck.
No, it's Trudeau. I mean, are they feeding funds to Trudeau? Is his party being?
It's in their interest to keep him in
financed
power.
by them.
He's
doing their bidding.
He's doing their bidding. Like Hochtief AG, a former ally of the Nazis, a company that created its seed capital through working for the Nazis with slave labor death camps. They know this, yet this company has taken over one of the major companies in Alberta, and they're getting fed hundreds of millions of dollars worth of infrastructure contracts. This is the same company that has done bid rigging and impoverished Africa and Greece.
Well, these are globalist companies, aren't they?
Yeah.
And we've seen this pattern across the globe. The globalist corporations and big finance, they buy the politicians.
They buy them, yeah.
And these politicians masquerade as, guardians of the people, but they're only lining their own pockets.
Of course.
Why aren't the media in Canada exposing this?
Because they're silenced. It's like Tommy Robinson said, he's the only legitimate reporter out there. He's anybody who speaks out about anything that isn't towing the line of the globalist agenda are silenced and not given airtime or just.
But surely the media is supposed to be the tribune of the people. They're supposed to be there to represent the people and give the people a voice. Why aren't they doing this in Canada? Are they being bought out?
They're being bought out, of course, yeah. And their careers and their jobs are put on the line if they speak out.
But some people must be speaking out. I mean, you've got rebel media there. What happens to people in Canada when they speak out? Is the laws now to control freedom of speech?
Yes. Yeah.
Are people being prosecuted on bogus charges of
people are afraid.
Racism or something like that?
Yeah, they're afraid to be accused of racism or bigotry or.
So these politicians who are fleecing the people and doing the bidding of the big corporations, they're masquerading as moralists, as people who are taking high ground, who are standing up for some virtue like anti-racism. But it's all bogus, isn't it? It's
all bogus. And the Senate, for instance, each senator is making $11,000 a month, and that's basically that's bribery. But they're a pretense of accountability. It's not really. There's no accountability. They're purchased, and they keep silent in order to keep getting their $11,000 a month.
Now, what about
they're supposed to be a watchdog?
Yeah, they are. They're supposed to be the guardians of the people. Now, what use is a guard dog if it doesn't bark?
That's
right. So
right.
you're saying these senators are not barking. Is there anyone amongst the people who are barking? Is there any dissent amongst the Canadian people at what's happening?
Well, that's the problem. There's a lot of apathy and silence. They're silenced by. They don't get any airtime. They won't get any. They won't be. They'll just ignore it. They'll control the media, and that's how they deal with the corruption when it's been demonstrated, when it's been proven to exposed. They just react with silence.
What about the borders of Canada? Are they secure as Trudeau controlling immigration?
Well, they're just flooding into Canada. Actually, they don't really know who's there, and
who's flooding in?
Well, people from North Africa and the
So the Islamic hordes,
Islamic hordes, essentially.
Well, who's financing them? They're going onto the welfare state in Canada?
Yes, and it's a very strong welfare
that's
state.
Taxpayers' dollars?
Taxpayers' dollars.
But surely eventually that will bite in Canada. This is the thing, you can only delay it. If you have bad policies, eventually you reap what you sow.
Yeah. The problem is corruption and sleaze through the Liberal Party and the civil service. They're just paid to be silent. They know they daren't speak out, and corruption is rife, and there's too many people getting backhanders and kickbacks. That's why people like Huckty Fagee, who have a track record of criminality on 3 continents, are awarded government contracts, huge infrastructure contracts, the biggest in the country. They're getting them all through Clark Builders and Edmonton.
What about the opposition? Don't they try and expose this? Are the opposition, the Conservative opposition, exposing Trudeau, or are they colluding with him in this corruption?
To a certain extent, they've got dirt on their hands as well, so they're afraid of being exposed themselves also. But Trudeau's corruption is clear and obvious, and his double standards of the way he holds everybody accountable to the nth degree of
People, who does he hold accountable?
Of political control, of
you know what it sounds like? It sounds like he's running a racket there. It's almost gangsterism.
Yeah.
He's taken control of the country, and he's used the power at his disposal to stop any exposure of corruption, which is helping him in all sorts of ways. I mean, at the end of the day, Trudeau's going to come out of politics a millionaire, and he'll probably end up a billionaire.
A billionaire.
These people manipulate the system in order to line their own pockets.
Well,
we need what impact is the election going to have? Are the people awake to this? They're going to vote against Trudeau?
Well, I hope so. And he's not going to get many votes in the West, but it's the East that might put him into re-elect him.
But Canada obviously,
the population is.
Yeah, in Toronto.
Is in the East, yeah.
But obviously Canada is part of North America, and Donald Trump is the president of America, and he's taken on the swamp in Washington. What impact is that having in Canada?
Well, it's highlighting the corruption in Canada, and it's demonstrating that we need accountability. Trump's presence and what he's doing is exposing the corruption and sleaze that actually exists within the Liberals and the
whole political elite.
The whole political elite.
And globalist elite and media elite.
The media elite and the globalist elite are being exposed in Canada.
Now, you know, Trump has got this slogan, Americafest. He's looking after the interests of the American people and the American nation. Now, is there a stirring of nationalism in Canada? The people want Canada to be
Well, the
first.
people are disgusted because they haven't got a good representative. Trump is alpha male, and Trudeau is just a pussycat. He's not even capable of dealing with Trump under any circumstances.
But what about the grassroots in Canada, the people? You obviously you live in Canada, you speak to people. Are they staring on these issues?
Yes, they are. They're tired of weak leaders and corrupt leaders, and that's what we're getting with the Liberals and Trudeau. And it's inherited. Trudeau's father was Prime Minister as well, and he impoverished the West of Canada. Pierre Trudeau.
Yeah. Now, obviously Trudeau's also pushing the whole politically correct agenda. I'm sure he's pushing things like same-sex marriage, abortion on demand, everything which, corrupts the morality of a nation. Yeah. Are the churches speaking out about this in Canada like in America?
Not really. They're not.
Are they bought
as
well?
They should be.
The established churches?
Yeah, they're bought. They
part of the establishment?
They're part of the established, part of the problem. They've compromised themselves so much that they daren't speak out.
So we need new voices, don't we? We need the people to arise. And this is what we're looking for, new forces in society. It's only us, the people, who can save our countries.
Yeah.
Thankfully they got Donald Trump. He's come in, he's got above all these globalists, and he's shining a light on them from above, but he needs people from below to join him in this fight. Are you still hopeful about Canada?
Yes, I am.
5-10 years on.
It will turn around. It'll turn around when Trudeau's gotten rid of and we have legitimate leadership. We've got some other parties coming up, that new parties that are legitimate and they have ethics and standards, and they are moving in, and people will.
But it's a real battle, isn't it?
It's a struggle.
The problem is they won't allow us to speak. Every time we open our mouth to expose them, they attack us, they demonise us, they drag us through the mud. I mean, what tactics are they using in Canada to silence opposition?
Stuck.
Fear.
Yeah, fear.
Intimidating people, TV constantly telling the ordinary Canadians that to want border control is racist, to want a decent family is bigoted, to want a strong nation is nationalistic, and all the time they're denigrating the ordinary people. We've got to go through that, haven't we? We've got to have people who say, look, I'm not going to be intimidated by this. I'm going to speak the truth. And it's videos like this. This is where people find the truth now. People go onto YouTube to listen to honest voices because they don't trust the media anymore. What does Trump call the media? Fake media.
Fake media, yeah.
It's more than fake. He's now saying it's sick. It's sick. And we've got to wake up, because these people are causing havoc in our societies. They're making our lives a misery. It doesn't have to be that way. I mean, Canada's a fantastic country. The potential of Canada is amazing. The people in Canada are wonderful. That country should be prospering like never before. And but you've got to have morality. You've got to have truth and honesty.
You've got to have accountability.
And accountability. Those in power,
and they're not accountable. And their only way of defending what they're doing is silence. It's like they're similar to the paedophile epidemic in the Roman Catholic Church. There was just silence, and for so long, to the point where people couldn't take it anymore and just started telling the truth and speaking out. And this is what needs to be done in relation to Trudeau and his involvement with SNC-Lavalin and Loblaws and Hochtief AG, a criminal in 3 continents that has given infrastructure money, taxpayers' dollars, from Canada and they're able to use blood money that they earned murdering people and impoverishing the poorest people in Africa, and capitalize on that money and make more money out of it in pure ignorance of the taxpayers and the students, basically the university students and high school students, who are inadvertently being used without their knowledge, that is making this globalist criminal even richer.
What woke you up to all this, James?
I knew about 5 companies that were put out of business by bid rigging and
not only
ruthless.
I mean, the whole picture of this political elite, the way they were ripping off society.
Well, it's just
what woke you up to it?
Personal experience. Having been working for some of the companies over the last 30 years that are now out of business because globalist criminals are able to buy off politicians like Trudeau and civil servants of an entrenched criminal bureaucracy of civil servants that and a silent Senate. That's what they should be called, the silent Senate.
That's a powerful term.
Yeah, the silent Senate.
Have you seen it?
$11,000 a month for each senator to buy silence.
Have you seen it get worse and worse over the years?
Yes, it's getting worse. Yeah.
Why do you think it's getting worse? Because the media are no longer, the media are bought as well. Because the media used to shine the light on corruption.
They're afraid to now. They're afraid for their jobs and their pensions and their careers. Yeah. And that's why the corruption and the sleaze continues.
So it's the same old story. You need to be courageous. You need to be brave in order to stand up to these people.
You've got to be prepared to be part of the silent majority. You know, like to not be silent, to speak out.
Yeah.
And. But
we need leaders, don't we?
The crux of the thing is their response. Their response is silence. They would never challenge what's being said because it will air to the public or to the country that they'd be exposing themselves. Because all the information that we've talked about what Hochtief AG and SNC-Lavalin and Loblaws have done and who they're involved with is in the public domain as common knowledge.
Well, let's hope.
And they won't air it.
Let's hope that this election, it was in 2 weeks' time, let's hope this election really shakes up the political elite in Canada, really undermines Trudeau, and the Canadian people wake up and vote to give themselves some hope. Vote against Trudeau. That's the only message we can give, isn't it?
That's the only message we can give to get rid of him.
Seamus, thanks for that. Fantastic.